Good day everyone, I'm Jerkwan Mengo and today I'm going to discuss the nature of bureaucracy. So in this topic, the bureaucracy as a whole and bureaucracy here in the Philippines and what is the concept of it. So bureaucracy is a type of organization designed to accomplish large-scale administration tasks by systematically coordinating the work of many individuals. So meaning bureaucracy is an organization and the main goal of it is to accomplish the large administration, and by that it follows a systematic process that will benefit the individuals. A German sociologist, Max Weber, was the first scholar to describe the characteristics of bureaucracy systematically. He was he was also the first to analyze its role in an industrial society. So as we all know, Max Weber is the one of the pillars and founder of bureaucracy. In Weber's view, bureaucracy is the best form of organization. As an organization, it substitutes a rule of law for a rule based on the whims of those who happen to govern. In the latter case, the superiors in Weber's view, bureaucracy is the best form of organization. So meaning, bureaucracy, according to Weber's, it is the best form of organization. And it follows what is the rules, what is the desire of who is in the government, of who is in the administration. According to Peter M. Blue states, colloquially the term bureaucracy has become an epithet which refers to inefficiency and red tape in the government. But this was not the original meaning, and this is not the way the term be used. In this chapter, the following subjects will be discussed to attain a clearer understanding of the nature of bureaucracy. So, we will have to discuss these 5 topics for us to be able to have the clear understanding of what's really bureaucracy is. So, number 1 is basic concept of bureaucracy, development of bureaucracy organization, characteristics of bureaucracy, characteristics of Philippine bureaucracy, and Philippine bureaucracy behavior. Basic concept of bureaucracy. Bureaucracy is a specific form of social organization for administrative purposes. So bureaucracy is only for administrative purposes, nothing more, nothing less. And maybe there are some it can be also applied to others, but it meant to administrative purposes only. In speaking the same vein, Marshall E. DeMock states, bureaucracy is collected in certain specific forms of organizational behavior, hierarchy, subdivision, specialization, fixed ways of doing things, and professionalization. As Dalton E. McFarland says, moreover, bureaucracy is the type of hierarchical organization which is designed rationally to coordinate the work of many individuals in pursuit of large-scale and administrative tasks. So, meaning, what Delton trying to say, bureaucracy is a hierarchical organization. So it is clearly defined what are the ranks. There is a leader, and there is the members, and there is the followers, and that's all. That is the bureaucracy. Development of bureaucracy organization. Observance of the classical principles of organization produces bureaucracy. However, it requires certain conditions for its development. As William G. Scott and Terence R. Michel say, a civilization must reach a certain degree of maturity before bureaucracies emerge to exert a significant influence on the life patterns of people in a society. The institution in society must be differentiated in terms of the role they play. Differentiation takes place along functional lines. So, meaning an institution must know what is their role in the society. It must be clearly defined what is his function, what is his purpose. So for example, the separation of the economic functions from the family. In this sense, the family is no longer the locus of the production of goods and services. Instead, such activities are centralized and specialized institutions. Socorro S. Espiritu, a Filipino sociologist, when she said, bureaucratic structure in institutions are not necessarily confined to political organizations. They tend to develop whenever it is necessary to coordinate the activities of many people. So, bureaucratic structure is not just about in the political organizations. It is just to develop whenever it is needed to use by by the politics. Bureaucracy offers both an efficient mechanism for reaching institutional goals and the danger of allowing the mechanism to appear more important than the service it is supposed to perform. As Scott and Mitchell argue, the society as a whole must be in a position to supply the resources for support of bureaucratic organizations. As such, society is expected to underwrite bureaucratic activities. Theoretically, therefore, the bureaucracy has to pursue socially acceptable goals. Characteristics of bureaucracy. Although Weber studied mainly government institutions to extract the essential elements of his concept of bureaucracy, it appears that several of his principal characters could be found in any organizations as as long as they had the following um, features. Large and complex organization as measured by the number of people it employed. Majority of those employed were performing semi-skilled and unskilled works, relatively simple mass production technology as applied, and relatively simple product is produced. The following characteristics of an organization could be used for analysis of a bureaucracy. So positions and offices are clearly defined. So the department, for example, the department, it was clearly defined where their office and positions. There is a secretaries in departments. The hierarchical arrangement of authority, rights, and obligations are specifically drawn. So hierarchical arrangement, so meaning there is a ranking and there is the rights, there is authority. For example, the leader has the authority, the rights, and an obligation about his member. And the personnel are selected on the basis of technical and professional qualifications. So meaning, personnels are based on their professionalism and professionalism qualifications. There are defined rules governing official behavior, security of tenure, and pursuit of a career with promotion in the hierarchy are assured. From his ideal type model of bureaucracy, Weber identified two permanent characteristic in all formal organizations. These are division of labor and centralization of authority. As McFarland says, the characteristics of bureaucracy are present in all large organizations, which is fulfill the functions of um, efficiency efficiently. As Robert Presto, Prestos adds, they seek to determine the channels through which external social inputs are evaluated and acted upon within an organization and frequently stress with considerable normative zeal the need for greater organization sensitivity to non-institutional social variables. Richard H. Hole suggests that the degree of bureaucratization can be determined by measuring the following dimensions or key elements of the ideal type of bureaucracy of Weber. Division of labor based upon functional functional specialization. So there is a dividing of labor. The human resource are divided based on their specializations. So if you are specialized in this position, then um, you are suited in that kind of way. A well-defined hierarchy of authority. So a ranking um, from the leader, from the members, from its followers, are it is clearly defined. A system of rules covering the rights and duties of positional incumbents, a system of procedures for dealing with work situations, impersonality or of impersonal situations, so meaning impersonality of impersonal relations. You do not put your emotions in your job. If that is your job, then do your job. Promotion and selection for employment based upon technical competencies. So meaning, um, for your promotion and selection, you are based upon the merits of your technical competencies. If you are competent enough, then you can be promoted. As such, Warren G. Bennis believes that bureaucracy, as described by Weber, must change significantly if it is to continue as functional element of modern society. Pointing out the weak points of bureaucracy, Dale says, but a bureaucracy has one major fault. It has difficulty in changing its ways, except very slowly. And because it resists change, it does not attract those who can conceive constructive changes and put them into effect. In spite of some negative characteristics, Espiritu believes that bureaucracy is still the only systematized method of carrying a vital task of institutions. So Espiritu still believe that the bureaucracy is the only way, is the only process that can carry out all the important tasks of a certain institutions. Robert K. Merton says that one consequence of bureaucratic structuring of on the behavior of organizational participants is this disruption in goal achievement. And because of the climate, because of the external um, problem issues, there is a disruption of on the bureaucratic structure, disruption in its goal, and it does really affect the performance of achieving it. Characteristics of Philippine bureaucracy. In 1954, Onofre D. Corpus made made a study of the actual operations of Philippine bureaucracy. Its important characteristics can be summarized as follows. Vulnerability to nepotism. So vulnerability to nepotism here in the Philippines, it is very common to us, especially in the barangay. If you are a friend of the barangay captain, um, then you are totally be promoted, and you can easily enter the job. And that is another term, if that is other member of your family could be your can be easily enter to the job if they have a friend of the said politician. Perpetuation of spoil systems. A pathetic public reaction to bureaucratic misconduct. So, a pathetic public reaction, for example, the politicians are saying that I promise to do that thing. I promise that I will put you in that place. And then that will be the result of bureaucratic misconduct. The bureaucrats will have to believe that. Availability of external peaceful means of correcting bureaucratic weaknesses. So, because of the freedom of speech, freedom of expression, there is a correction of the wrong fault of the bureaucrats. Survival of historical experience. So, from the survival of historical experience, we have been colonized by many countries, and we have been learned that they have also put some um, a lesson to us about bureaucracy, and it made a scar to us. For example, is the centralization of here in the Philippines. We are a unity form country, and the centralized it is in Manila. The capital is in Manila. Non-special typing of bureaucrats, lack of independence from politics. So lack of independence from politics. Um, Bureaucracy here in the Philippines is dependent from politics. What gonna say in the politics will be then the then the bureaucracy will follow. Essential instruments of social change. Over the years, the characteristics of the Philippine bureaucracy had taken significant changes. So there are a lot of changes when time comes in the Philippines. The development of the human resources of the government is a prerequisite to the nation's accelerated socio-economic development program. In the transformation of the Philippine bureaucracy as an instrument of national development, several issues have arisen, such as the following: bureaucratic resistance to change, socio-economic, political, cultural, and ecological constraints to administrative change, problems in the transfer of technology and adaptation. Philippine bureaucracy behavior. The Philippine bureaucratic behavior is influenced by its socio-economic structure as well by the traditions and culture of the Filipinos. So, Philippine bureaucratic behavior is internally influenced about the Filipinos of their internal beliefs. As pointed out by Cordero and Panacio, the behavior of the human beings is largely influenced by the structure and function of social organization in which they live. On the other hand, the behavior of people largely influence the behavior of the organization. So what's gonna be what's the behavior of the people? Then that would be have an impact to the organization itself, and thus the traditional values that tend to predominate the Philippine settings are those that center on the family. So the traditions values that tend to so meaning um, it does really affect the Philippine bureaucracy, and the family system is extended by bilateral type with is which is bound by strong kinship ties. A high respect is also accorded to social status rather than merit, with a strong emphasis in is placed on primary group interests and relationship. This status-oriented behavior is projected in the desire to establish an association with the elite. The superordinate rule of the elite is further stressed by the fact that in any community project or political function, the elite is always consulted for advice, moral support, or financial contribution before anything can be done. This culture impregnates the bureaucracy. Super Superimposed upon the Weberian bureaucratic model are the conflicting Philippine value patterns of segmentations, personalism, and reciprocity. The sense of pity awa tends to distort efficiency ratings of subordinates. Equally limiting values are the sense of gratitude with unending reciprocity, utang na loob, sense of camaraderie, pakikisama, paternalism, padrino system, and authoritarianism, which pressure the bureaucrats to conform to meet a para parochial, dyadic, and kinship obligation over a consciousness of merit and efficiency. So instead of the performance of the bureaucrats, it is the here the behavior of bureaucracy in the Philippines was about internal, the relationship, like utang na loob, pakikisama, padrino system. So our conclusions are: the government is a bureaucracy. Over the years, bureaucracy has become the dominant form of organization in modern society. Very often, bureaucracy is used a negative manner for its failure to produce the organization results with adequate efficiency. The increasing complex organization can be simplified by breaking down its component parts into simple manageable structures. Organizations are not alike, yet when all the differences are taken into consideration, many common elements stand out. Basically, they are all bureaucratic organization. As a social organization, bureaucracy has as we as well weak points. In spite of some negative characteristics, it is still the only systematized method of carrying the vital task of institutes. Moreover, there are possible solutions to the problems. Each of the solution represents a distinct method of improving its personnel administration. Over the years, the characteristic of Philippine bureaucracy has taken on nothing significant to create changes in spite of the effort of the government to reform it. The Philippine bureaucracy has its own types of behavior. Thank you. That's all, and thank you for listening.